Call to order the August Finance Committee. Welcome everybody here. Hope you enjoyed the month off. I was here every day, but some of you took a little vacation.
Yeah, right.
Glad y'all here today. Okay, as usual, we will do the consent item. And by the way, we have a few more items than normal because we do have 2 months worth of projects to do this month. I've been asked by Councilmember Adams to pull C2. Are there any other items anyone would want pulled? Mr. Mundy.
C10, please.
C10, hang on, let me mark it.
I'd make the motion to approve the balance.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Scipio, did you want any?
No.
John?
C11.
C11. Any others? Ms. Taylor, did you have a motion?
I'd make that motion to approve the balance.
We have a motion to approve the balance. Is there a second? Everybody on the committee will please vote. And that is approved. Thank you very much. We will do these in numerical order. Bear with me a second. We'll do C2. If the clerk will please read this one.
Item C2, resolution awarding contract for golf cart leasing services at Winston Lake Golf Course. Yamaha Golf Court Company of Greensboro, North Carolina, 5-year contract for $260,400.
Ms. Adams, you had a comment?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Royston.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
My question is, in the past few months, we've suffered from vandalism and robbery at the golf course, particularly Winston Lake. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm hoping that staff or the city has put together some type of preventive or corrective plan, because if we're going to get new golf carts and these young vandals or whoever, they standing watching like hawks. And as soon as the trucks start rolling in and take them off the truck and get them charged up, they're going to break in and get them. So my question is, what have we put in place to prevent what has happened over the past few months, if anything?
Yes, Chair, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, members of the committee, members of City Council. We are working with our partners in the IS department to beef up our security infrastructure that we use to keep that facility safe. We did receive some additional funding this past fiscal year to add heightened security at several of our park locations. The security cameras and the security system that we had located at Winston Lake Golf Course at the clubhouse did allow us to identify those individuals that were involved, and working with our partners in the Winston-Salem PD began that process of holding them accountable. We are working to enhance that security and beef up some of the exterior security features around the clubhouse and the garage. And we're also looking at some staffing improvements and ways that we can better manage our resources there to make sure that we have better coverage at that particular location.
Again, I'm concerned that are these the cards that are is this the contract renewal, the usual, versus just doing a contract to hopefully replenish our supply? Which one is it?
So what's before you today is a request for a brand new fleet of golf carts. Yamaha is going to give us a credit of approximately $62 per cart, and that's going to vary depending, with the ones that were damaged
Right,
due to the
because
vandalism.
most of them might not even be get a what they call it, a refund or rebate.
But these carts will come with at least the minimal requirements that we have on the carts now, which the carts that we have now do have GPS on them. We're going to be doing some staffing, some procedural things with staff to ensure that our fleet is protected. But this new fleet of golf carts will be a brand new fleet. The old carts will not be in use any longer.
So have we finished the term of the first lease, these carts, the ones that we presently have? How long have we had those?
We are currently in the 5th year of the lease with the current fleet that we have. The carts that we've been getting, and some of the carts from some of the research that we've seen, the carts typically last about 4.5 years, even though it's a 5-year lease. We do have a maintenance agreement with these carts to provide on-site service that we're going to make sure that we take advantage of. We believe that we'll get the technology with the carts that we're getting is going to be very different than the lithium-ion batteries that you will find, or the lead batteries that you'll find in the current fleet. I believe what we're looking at with this particular fleet are lithium-ion batteries that are much more efficient, much easier to maintain, and much easier for people to use, and our staff to provide maintenance to.
I move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Motion second to approve C2. We'll please vote when it comes up.
And Mr. Royston, I'll be looking for updates on that vis-à-vis through community development of where we are, whether the carts are being intact, whether they still being stolen, whether they're working at the level that we anticipate, and what are our customers saying? Okay?
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move, that is approved, thank you. We'll now move to C10, if the clerk will please read that one.
Item C10, resolution awarding purchase order for 3/4 ton pickup trucks. Piedmont Truck Center of Greensboro, North Carolina. Total cost $220,144.96.
Johnny, can you give a brief introduction on what we're getting here?
Yes, good evening, Chairman Clark, MPT Adams, other members of the committee and council.
Good evening.
What we have before you are 4 3/4 ton trucks. We actually utilize within the property and facilities maintenance program to offer service to our facilities. What we typically do as a practice, because the question may be in relation to whether we are pursuing hybrids here. That's my assumption. So our practice is that we procure hybrids from half-quarter or half-ton pickup trucks down. So that would include compact trucks as well as mid-size sedans and compact sedans. These 3/4 ton trucks are beyond what we are currently pursuing as hybrids. There's also some other issues as far as some of the energy requirements for some of the equipment that we have as well. So these are actually above what our practice is for pursuing hybrids.
And these are F-250s.
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Larson?
Yeah, I did a couple of questions. Why is 250s eliminated? I don't quite understand why we're using that as a cutoff.
The 3/4 ton, you mean?
No, it's the size, it's the class. A 3/4 ton chassis is a larger vehicle. And
Right.
so some of those options are not available in some of the larger classes for what we're doing. They exist, but they're very difficult to get in some cases. And depending upon your application, they just wouldn't be practical. So what we've done is we began the process of pursuing hybrids at a class that would be more feasible for our current progress as far as hybrid technology.
For maintenance, it's a maintenance and procurement issue right now?
Yes, there still are procurement issues. We have recently received 3 F-150s, and so we're actually trying those out right now to see how well that works.
And those are electric, not hybrid.
Yeah, that's correct.
But those aren't 3/4 though, are they?
No, they are half-ton.
Half-ton.
Half-ton. I was curious about the 4 vehicles that you're requesting to be replaced. One that's a 2012 Chevrolet has less mileage on it by half or less than what the other vehicles have. Its maintenance cost is about 1/4 of what it is. And the initial purchase price is $26,000 compared to other vehicles. Why? What is it about that one vehicle, that one truck that's causing us to want to take it off the fleet at this point? You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're referring to. I don't have the specific details, but while the maintenance costs may seem less significant than the other vehicles, I'm not certain as to what that maintenance cost is, what the cause of it is. So it's possible that you had a very large expenditure one time, or maybe there have been multiple failures, and even though the amount is not as high as some of the other vehicles, there's still been a lot of time associated with continued repairs. So I can try to put together some more intimate details about what those particular issues have been. However, I'm not certain
Can you
exactly.
get that for Monday night?
Sure,
Okay.
If you could just let me know offline. I was wondering if it had been wrecked or something.
that's possible.
I'd just be curious to know. It's such an anomaly compared to the other three vehicles. I'm just curious about that. You can just let me know offline. We'd be fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion, second, approve C10. If the committee will please vote when it comes up. That is approved. Thank you. We'll now do the last consent, C11. If the clerk will please read this.
Item C11, resolution awarding purchase order for rollout refuse carts from Toter LLC, $299,467.76.
Mr. Mundy, is this yours?
This was actually Mr. Larson's, but he asked the question on 10 that I would have asked. That's okay. He covered all the questions I had.
Okay.
Sorry to bring you back up again, Councilmember, Mr. City Manager. My question is a fairly simple one on this one. We have three different colored cards. We have green and brown and
Yes, sir.
blue, and the blue for recycling.
Yes.
Are we covering all three colors on this one, or is this?
Yes, this would probably be a combination of a variety of different colors.
Just wondering, are we losing people stealing these carts, or what? That's a lot.
Well, individuals are not following a humane practice. When they leave their residences, they tend to take them with them.
Take them with them.
Yeah, so it is not uncommon to take a ride through the countryside and see some of our carts at times.
So what is it costing? Are we charging residents? We do charge for the green ones, I know.
So when we talk about charging the actual brown card, each resident receives one of those. If they get a second card, they're required to pay a fee. The green card, which is the yard waste card, that requires a fee. And the blue card, which is recycling, there is no fee.
No fee on recycling. Second card for the brown one is a charge on that. What is that charge? Do you know offhand?
It should be $65.
$65. Same thing for the blue card. So,
$65 for the yard card.
The yard
The
card.
brown and the blue card, the garbage and the recycling, there is no charge. If there's a second brown card, then they pay an additional charge for that second brown card for
The
garbage.
green one is $65 a year, right? Every
That
year
is correct.
You have to license it every year.
That's for the sticker. You have to purchase the card first, and then you pay a yearly fee for the
Relicense it.
sticker.
Yeah. Are we losing those green cards as well?
No. Most of the green cards, they stay around.
Okay, just curious. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
They break as well.
Yes, and why-
Lids particularly.
And since you asked the question about the green card, just for the education of our residents, that green card is yours, which means that when it breaks, unless we break it, you have to purchase another.
Which is another one.
And I will say mine have lasted
We know.
probably 25 years and counting.
Mine haven't.
All right, Mr. Mundy.
On the green carts, we've had a lot of complaints that the stickers, the labels don't stick. And I think just for the benefit of those people who have made complaints about that, I want to mention, and you can add anything to this, that purchasing is aware of that problem, and they're trying to make sure that in the future these labels will stick to these carts that apparently have more of a texture now than they used to in the past.
Yes, Councilmember Mundy. From time to time, we get particular batches of stickers where we have those difficulties. If residents would simply call in, we will come and take care of that situation for them, free of charge, of course. But we are working to eliminate the large number of issues that we have with some particular cart producers, stickers producers.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion, a second. Everybody please vote when it comes up. It is approved. Thank you. That concludes consent. We will now go to the general agenda. We have 6 items. We'll do G1 first.
Item G1, modification to approval of financial assistance for multifamily housing development at Whitaker Park.
Mr. Millett, why don't you give us an introduction on this one, please?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Chairman Clark, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of City Council. You will remember that in 2020, City Council approved $1 million of assistance to Cavalier Winston Development for construction of Whitaker Park lofts, which are in a couple of the historic former Reynolds buildings at Whitaker Park. It is a 160-unit multifamily development. In keeping with Mayor and Council's focus on providing workforce housing, 16 of these units were designated specifically for workforce housing. City assistance was split between a $500,000 loan that was dispersed at the start of the project and a $500,000 grant where funds would be dispersed at different construction milestones throughout the project. The loan agreement did require all certificates of occupancy to be issued by May of 2023. Construction was delayed due to COVID, but since construction has fully resumed and is ongoing. You will see there are photos included on the agenda item that do show the project as of June, and it is estimated to currently be 60% complete. The first building is scheduled to be completed by the end of this year, and the second building is scheduled for completion by the end of June 2024. The developer has requested a deadline extension. If approved, the attached resolution authorizes staff to make the necessary amendments, extending completion deadline to June 30th, 2024. City staff would monitor construction with quarterly on-site visits, and funds would be dispersed on the following construction schedule. 45% of the $500,000 dispersed upon confirmation of 50% completion, the next 45% upon confirmation that the final certificates of occupancy have been issued for all the units, and the final 10% dispersed upon confirmation that at least 90% of the units have been leased. And city staff will be happy to facilitate a tour of the project should mayor or council so desire.
These pictures were taken in June. Have you been by since then to be
Yes,
sure
sir.
they're still moving along?
Yes, sir.
Any questions or comments? Mr. McIntosh?
Just a quick, do you know off the top of your head what the terms of the loan portion of this is? If you can get that to me over
Sure.
a couple days, that'd be great. Length of the amortization rate and that stuff.
Sure.
Thank you.
I do think this is a good project. COVID slowed everything down, but the last time, our church gets food from the food bank, which is across the street, so I do have a chance to see this periodically, and it does seem like to me they're moving along swiftly now. I don't see any other questions. Got to get a motion to approve.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve the extension of the terms. Everybody please vote when it comes up. That is approved. Thank you very much. We'll now go to G2. If the clerk will please read that one.
Item G2, amendment to October 17th, 2022, agenda item C3, November 14th, 2022, agenda item C2, and January 3rd, 2023, agenda item C3, resolutions relating to the city's American Rescue Plan Act, Enabled Transformational Grants Program, and 4 ARPA-enabled housing transformation grants.
If you would please give us maybe 5 minutes on this one. This is a little complicated.
Sure. Good afternoon, Chairman Clark, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, members of the committee and council. I'm Tiffany Oliva, Director of Intergovernmental Affairs and Strategic Initiatives. This item, we've had several ARPA-enabled grantees within the transformational grants category and 4 within the housing assistance set-aside, specifically Boston Thurman Community Network, Christ Rescue Temple Apostolic Church, S.G. Adkins Community Development Corporation, and Homeland Ministries within that housing piece. Some of these grantees have expressed some challenges with getting their projects off the ground, and so they have requested an initial startup lump sum of funding or working capital to be able to get these projects off the ground. And so this item clarifies authority granted to the city manager in the aforementioned resolutions from those 3 dates, and also ratifies the memo that was provided to City Council on June 22nd to allow the city manager to offer these grantees specifically the ability to receive an amount not exceeding 25% of their total award in an initial amount of lump sum funding, and then to move to reimbursement on a monthly basis after that. And so this item does just that, and also allows the city manager to amend agreements to reflect those changes.
And I believe, Mr. Taylor, you called us during July, I think, when this issue came up, to verbally update us on it.
Good afternoon again. Yes, we actually notified you about the changes we were recommending to this particular program at that time, yes.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, motion?
I just want to say, Chair, that when we were discussing the ARPA funding process, that we basically knew that some of these nonprofits and organizations, because they've never had projects or money of this size, they were going to have some issues getting it off the ground. It's no different than a business project or an incubator or anything. So we also, I remember in some of our discussions, that we would cross this bridge when we got to it. If there seemed to be some issues or limitations to them getting things done, and that we would be willing, because the Fed rules allow us to make adjustments as needed. So again, Ms. Oliva, to you and Mr. Tash and all of your team, thank you so much for being so prompt, Mr. Taylor, in contacting all the council members to let them know that it was a circle of wagons type deal. Thank you very much.
Can I get a motion?
I move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Please vote when it comes up. Ms. Lever, hold 1 second. I'm going to say something nice about you. I just want to say, and I think most of y'all were at, Mayor, you weren't there yesterday, at the General Government Committee. Ms. Lever had a very nice presentation, very well organized, with, I thought, appropriate information on how all these projects are moving, these and others. And I recommended everyone to look at the agenda for that committee. You can see it. And look forward to maybe quarterly updates or whatever you have in mind for that. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. G3, if the clerk will please read this one.
Item G3, resolution authorizing the renewal of an additional 5-year agreement with T-Square Golf LLC for management services of Reynolds Park Golf Course, $540,000 over the contractual period.
Mr. Royston, why don't you give us 3 minutes on this one, please?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Chair, Mayor Joins, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, members of the committee, members of City Council. Before you is the suggested renewal agreement with T-Square Golf, the management company that's managing Reynolds Park Golf Course. They did ask for an increase of $2,000 per month over their original agreed to management fee from 2018. The associated costs with managing the golf course, the chemicals, staff costs, as well as equipment costs, from our standpoint, justify the increase. There are no capital expenses that are being requested by the city at this time for over the next 5 years. As part of this, at the conclusion of this 5-year period, we'll be required to send them back out for another request for proposals. At that time, it'll be open for public bidding.
Okay, any questions, comments, Mrs. Adams?
Since I'm the golfer. Mr. Royston, I'm sure you're aware, and I know we've had conversations, Mr. Taylor, and you and myself, about the Reynolds Park Golf Course and the contract. I'm concerned, as well as the questions I'm getting from people in the community, of whether we need to look at that contract. I mean, I know I need to see it. I don't know. I know the CARF is in here and the resolution is in here, but I think the council needs to read the contract. One of the concerns that's been raised that there are no youth programs at that golf course. It's paid for by taxpayer money, the people in that community. A lot of, kids are across the street at the Reynolds Park Recreation Center. Anderson Center. And it just seems kind of out of kilter to what the city believes in equity, diversity, and inclusion. We own the golf course. We write the contract. And I think, Mr. Chair and others, I think it's incumbent upon us to put it in the contract that they have to allow youth programs, women, girls, female programs of that sort at that golf course, because there's a history to that golf course that you're aware of, that black people weren't even allowed to play there. It took Dr. Oliver and others to protest for us to even be able to play there or even go to the carousel, Councilmember Scipio across the street. We just drive down there, drive by it and look at it. That's all we could do. But I think it's incumbent upon this council that we ensure that Reynolds Park Golf Course offers programs, and they don't have to do it. They can do it if they like, but it needs to be in the contract that golfers or professionals that teach the game of golf can go over there, get a contract with us or with them, a subcontract, and they provide lessons to the community of Southeast Winston. I know that I've heard there's been a girls' golf program started a couple of weeks ago because they knew I was coming. But it's okay. I saw them Saturday. I'll see them this Saturday. Great people, but we need to change how they do that over there. There are no women. I've been playing since 1997. There are no women hardly ever play over there. There are no young people over there playing. And all you see is a certain demographic, older men, and we need to change that. Am I okay?
Yes. We've been working very closely with T-Square Golf to provide additional opportunities to address the needs that you just mentioned. And one of the things, and part of their commitment to that was that program where we have those young female golfers out there that are being taught how to, just some of the golf basics. We began working on that with them several months ago, but we've had these conversations with them, and they are aware, and they are supportive of that. This is the first step in being very intentional with getting those programs not only going, but making sure that we're providing proof of performance so that people can understand and see some of the things that we're offering with them. And so we've had those discussions, and I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and share the contract and kind of go through some of those ideas and those programs that we have on the books in the coming months.
Ms. Royston, I won't be voting for this contract if that contract does not get, changed before Monday. And I know this contract is running out, but I think it's an injustice to the taxpayers of Winston-Salem, particularly the Southeast Ward, that the history of that golf course is basically continuing as it is, just in a new format. Again, they good people. I love the guys that run it. They ran Grandview. I know them. But I cannot sign a contract that this isn't in it. This is what a contract is. We always know it's for what the person that's paying, that we get what we want. I can't go on a promise and a word said and we're going to make it happen and we've been working on it. That was no intentionality until they knew this other group was looking and talking to me, which I already knew, that they stepped it up a little bit. All I'm asking is send the contract to us ASAP, tomorrow, this evening, city attorney, whatever, and gives us a chance to give feedback and to correct us, Mr. Taylor, that this contract cannot go forward. And if the council decides that they want it to go forward, I'll be very disappointed. Because, again, things don't change unless you make the change. And it's up to us to ensure that that golf course, and I also would like to see before Monday, show me the payout of them being contracting the course from the city, how much they are making off of it. I know we do it in the budget. We put it in there that they have so many rounds of golf, and if you look at it, they way outpace Winston Lake. But I need to see if we're allowing them to contract, we breaking even, how much money they making, and where we go from here, because that should have been in here, but it's not. That's my bad. But I'd like to see that before Monday.
It's no problem. We have all of that data, and I have no problem providing that as well as a contract for you for approval.
Mr. Royce, according to the thing, this contract runs out at the end of October.
Yes.
I was going to suggest we hold this in committee
Thank you.
In September?
and hopefully vote on it in September. Now, that cuts it. It still would have 2 months if we did it at the first meeting in September, which we could. So let's hold it in committee 1 month.
Mr. Taylor?
Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, this is in the Southeast Ward. Mr. Royston, is this time sensitive? And I'll tell you why I asked that. I have no problem with T-squared. I don't think nobody's saying anything about it. But I will say, Mayor Pro Tem, for many, many years, Vic Johnson has held a golf camp there. Since his passing, it has not been going forward. However, it just seems like a renewal of a partnership between Reynolds Park Rec and Brian McCorkle and his crew, and just getting in touch with T-Square. But I don't see a reason to hold up the contract because of it, because they've held up their obligations, and I'm willing to vote for it or move it forward without a recommendation. But this is in the Southeast Ward. At one point in time, I agree what the course used to be. But right now, there are many people who still come and enjoy it. It used to be a community with only European Americans were able to utilize it, but right now it's in a black community, and everybody comes out. So I like T-Squared. I like the golf course the way it's going, and I'll move for approval.
Is there a second?
Let me ask a question. Do we think we've got enough time between now and?
We do.
And
All I'm asking is for us, this is when you have to step back, for this group to review that contract, allow our attorney to review the contract, to see what we're able to put in or not. Like, I don't know whether we can even put this in there, and if it's a good faith effort, Mr. Taylor, I hear you, council member. But this is something, hindsight, that I thought was in it, and I know that, again, I play golf, but it never dawned on me that when I started meeting with certain groups, that we need to ensure that if there is a professional, whether it's a female pro, a black pro, a white pro, male, I don't care, that they have an opportunity to go into a contract and offer golf lessons for the community and for others over at that golf course. For instance, Winston-Salem State has a golf team. They can't play at Reynolds Park. They play at Winston Lake, or now they're at Maple Chase, Councilmember Scipio. And it's right around the street. And just think of the influence that those young people could have on those young people across the street at the rec. All I'm asking is to give us, just get the information to us.
The first meeting in September is only 2 weeks after the second meeting in August.
Right.
So I did not have a second. I'm a holding committee. Let's take a look at the contract. Ms. Carmen can take a look.
Comment.
But anyway, go ahead.
Protocol for the last several years has been that the department head and the management staff work with the council member of the area to do these types of things. That has been done. Mr. Royston and I have been in conversations. We've seen the contract, and it kind of concerns me. I'm the council member of the Southeast Ward. I respect your concerns and your thoughts, but I don't like when this happens. If you have any concerns or thoughts, you should bring them forward before we get here on this dais.
Well, hang on a minute.
Just protocol and respect.
Okay.
I like to have the same going forward.
Well, there is no second. I'm holding it in committee. That will delay it approximately 2 weeks. We still would have roughly 2 months. And I certainly would assume that Mr. Taylor would be involved. This Mr. Taylor, well, you won't be here, to be sure it's amicable and appropriate. I haven't seen it, and I haven't played that course in 20 years. I really can't comment.
That's why we should defer to the council member of the area. Thank you.
Okay. We will now move to G4.
Item G4, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Management Advisory Group International, Incorporated, to perform a classification and compensation review of all city pay plans and policies.
Dr. Barnett, you have the floor if you introduce this to us.
Yes, good evening, Chair Clark, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, members of the committee and members of the council. The item that you have before you is for the city's classification and compensation study that I've been talking to you all about over about the past year. The last time the city undertook a comprehensive review of its positions, classifications, and compensation structures was in 2017, with recommendations implemented in 2018. Since then, there have been drastic changes to the workforce, to the labor market, and so what we have done, we went out to the market and we performed a request for proposals, and we heard back, and we had 3 agencies that were deemed as compliant, and we did interview all 3 of those agencies. Through that conversation, we have determined that Management Advisory Group International Incorporated is going to be the best one suited to meet our needs. The committee was comprised of myself, City County Utilities Director Courtney Driver, and both Police Chief William Penn and Fire Chief Trey Mayo. So through this conversation, we were able to make a unanimous decision that MAG, as they are called, is the best provider that was offered to us. They are offering a contract of $195,000 per year. We are recommending that we enter into a 1-year agreement with the option to renew for 2 additional 12-month periods.
How long will it take them to complete the study?
So what they're saying is that once they are able to get started, that they can have within the first 9 months the study completely finished. Then after that, it will be up to essentially the council to determine what we will be able to do moving forward. So at the end of 9 months, so I'll probably be coming back to you all at month 10 with recommendations from MAG on kind of what direction we should be traveling. And then from there, we'll get onto a structure where our positions are constantly being evaluated so that we don't find ourselves in a position like we are now where it's been 6 or 7 years and we're significantly lagging the market.
Mr. Rowe, budget.
9 months out.
9 or 10 months out is going to be tight on the budget, because I have already been warning people that we are going to be taking, and I guess I should look at Mr. Tesh. He's over there smiling, wondering how he's going to do this. But I guess we need to work with the budget folks to be sure that, when do you need it by? We need numbers, because the budget's presented end of April?
Usually it's at the end of May, towards the end of May, but.
Somebody tell me how many months.
But we're working
we got
with
September, October.
with numbers much earlier than that.
And we go into,
That's 9 months to have the budget presented to us.
yeah, but we go into, Chair, discussions right after the holidays.
We need something sooner than 9 months.
To protect the integrity of the study and the integrity of the pay plan, I don't think we'd be able to have anything that soon. If the agreement gets approved by this body on Monday and we are able to enter into that agreement, say next week at the earliest, by the time that MAG is actually able to get on site and have those conversations, because that's a part of the agreement, that they will be on site talking to employees, not just representative groups, that they will be talking to significant amounts of city employees about the jobs they're doing and the work that they're tasked with. But as I understand it from even the last time that we did this, the conversation about what we can do to make the changes moving forward, those can happen after the study has closed. And so even if we come back at the end of 10 months, we may be able to say in 2025, or with the budget moving forward starting fiscal year 2026. So they're able to do gradual movements. I've had conversations with my colleagues in both Savannah, Georgia, as well as Durham County, North Carolina, where MAG has also done work, and they had the highest compliments to provide to MAG on the amount of time that they took, the careful and consideration that they exercise, rather the care and consideration they exercise, and also the support they offered to their elected bodies in helping to get through the process.
Okay, Ms. Adams.
Yes, just like what we've seen when we do budget amendments or adjustments, when we do the budget, when it comes to salaries, wages, and we say the fiscal year starts July 1st, this will start at that point, but then that October 1st, there's another thing that takes place, a wave, and then there's January 1st, which is another wave. So there's always 3 time periods involved in our budget cycle, especially when it comes to salaries, benefits, that sort of thing. So if I'm okay with this, if we can say fiscal year 24, 25, if somewhere in there, July 1st, 2024, if not October 1st, 2024, that hopefully maybe we get some information. And like you said, we may not can do anything until January 1st, make it, retro or whatever then. But I'm okay with that as long as the process is good and that at the end the product is good for the customers, our employees. I'm okay with that, Chair Clark.
Well, let me tell you, one of the driving forces is I got my property tax bill the other day.
That's right.
Within the last week, maybe. We have to give our property tax rate to the tax assessor by, Ms. Latham, what do you think, or Mr. Tesh? Well, I got it in the 1st of August, so we must have given them a number before then.
The tax rate is adopted with the AATLO as part of the budget process.
I know
and we have to let them know in August. They have already asked what that tax rate is. We provide it to them the week after the budget passes, but they are already asking
And
for
that's why we budget then. My point is, we can make minor changes to the budget, but the tax rate generates 2/3 of the money, property tax does, for the operating budget. The other is sales tax. And we do not have the luxury of affecting that number but once a year. And while we can have minor changes to the budget, we do not have the reserves to make a significant change with it. I'm certainly going to support this, and I understand why they need to get in here. They've got to equate our jobs, okay, what does this person do exactly? How does that equate to other jobs not only in the city, but other, they're going to do a comprehensive type study. And I guess we'll take it when we get it, and Mr. Tesh, you will deal with that accordingly.
Project will be on 25.
So we'll have no actionable information from this by the time we really are into our budget.
Most likely not. So a big part of this,
I'm really disappointed that the timeline works out that way. Why didn't we start this on a timeline that would have given us actionable information by the time we were doing budget talks?
So we didn't have the money made available, so we did come to the council last fiscal year to request the money for the consultant. And so we had the money made available to us effective July 1. We were not able to complete a request for proposals and get back to you all before June was out.
Can I get a motion on this?
Move for approval.
Is there a second? Second. We got to get it ball started. We'll start it with that.
Because the thing we need to remember is it's employees.
Let's vote. We have a motion second. Somebody push the magic button. I tell you what, y'all rough group on me today. Gracious.
Turn yours on.
Oh.
Mr. Chair.
Thought you had x-ray vision or something going on.
The screen was blank. Okay. We have one abstention. Okay, thank you. And that will go to council Monday night. Thank you. We have 2 more items. Mr. Millett, come on up. We have G5. If the city clerk will please read it.
Item G5, resolution authorizing economic development assistance for Project Fiesta pursuant to NCGS 158-71.
You please introduce this to us.
Certainly. Good afternoon again, everyone. This item concerns an economic development project that's codenamed Project Fiesta. It involves a company that's operated in Winston-Salem for over 20 years. The company recently completed an expansion of its existing facility and needs to relocate its headquarters and operations to accommodate projected growth. Winston-Salem is one of several communities under consideration, including other sites in North Carolina and Georgia. The company is seeking financial assistance to reduce its capital outlay for the project, which would create 274 new jobs over the first 5 years at an average salary of around $72,000. Taxable capital investment is estimated to be $50 million over the first 5 years, and the company expects the facility will be operational by the end of 2024. The resolution authorizes the city to provide up to $694,281 in performance-based economic development assistance for Project Fiesta. This is approximately 50% of the net new property taxes expected to be generated over the first 5 years. In addition to city assistance, the company has requested incentives for Forsyth County and the state of North Carolina. If approved by Finance Committee, this item will have a public hearing at the September 5th City Council meeting. Representative job descriptions and company demographics will be provided to Mayor and Council prior to the public hearing. Laura Lee and Ellis Kiefer from Greater Winston-Salem are also here in support of the project.
Thank you. This was presented in closed session last month, I believe. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. This is a great story of a minority-owned firm here in Winston. It started out fairly small and continued to grow, and the city of Winston-Salem has helped along the way with the growth, but this is a major step for them, $50 million, 274 new jobs. It's going to take a big, large building that's vacant right now and put it to good use. So, Ken, this is a great project, in my opinion, for the city.
Thank you. Is there a motion or questions? Can I get a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. If everybody please vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what is the reason we have to wait till September to get this in front of council?
We don't.
The next timeline is driven by our ability to advertise for the public
That's right.
hearing, which cannot be accomplished in time for next week's meeting.
That's as quick as the mayor can do it.
Thank you.
He's a little slower than he used to be. Okay, that's approved. Everybody vote? Okay, thank you. All right, last one, G6. City Clerk, please read it.
Item G6, resolution authorizing economic development assistance for Project Crystal Ball pursuant to NCGS 158-71.
Ken, keep going.
Yes, sir. So this is an economic development project that is codenamed Project Crystal Ball, which is a biotechnology company that is currently headquartered in Winston-Salem. The company is considering an approximate 53,000 square foot expansion of its current office and laboratory space to build for future growth. Winston-Salem is one of multiple locations being considered, including other sites in North Carolina. The company is seeking financial assistance to reduce its capital outlay, and the project would create 50 new jobs over the first 5 years. Taxable capital investment is expected to total $21 million over the first 5 years. The company plans the facility will be operational by the third quarter of 2024. The resolution authorizes City Council to provide up to $310,141 in performance-based economic development assistance. This is approximately 50% of the net new property tax revenue expected to be generated over the project's first 5 years. In addition to city assistance, the company has requested incentives from Forsyth County as well as the state of North Carolina. If approved, this item will hold its public hearing at that same September 5th meeting of City Council. And likewise with the other project, job descriptions and demographics of the company will be provided to Mayor and Council prior to that meeting. And Laura Lee and Ellis Kiefer remain here in support of this project as well.
Thank you. This was also presented in closed session at an earlier date. Any questions or comments? Not, can I get a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
And that is approved. I want to thank the chamber members for coming here today, our chamber staff. If you would like to get on TV, you can come up, but it's a pretty rough crowd up here today. Anyway, thank you. Thank the new folks that are considering expanding their businesses here. We welcome that.
Come on back soon.
With that, the council will meet Monday night, this coming Monday night, to approve those items that we can, and the last two items will be for public comment at the first meeting in September. And I'll leave it up to the mayor to handle that. With that, we will stand adjourned. Thank y'all very much.